What happens at laser tag never stays at laser tag.
Laser Unfocused Tag Talk.
Laser Unfocused Tag Talk.
I feel like you could be like in Ghostbusters or something.
Oh my God, you have got some stories.
Let's talk about laser tag.
Who knew you were a laser tag legend?
Time to get laser unfocused. Tag Talk with Tivia.
Welcome to Laser Unfocused Tag Talk. Hi, I'm Tivia. This week, we're talking with the Armageddon girls to get a different perspective on what it's like to play in the world of competitive laser tag. So today we're going to chat with the Armageddon girls, which are the women of this year's Armageddon laser tag tournament, including myself. And this is to get the female perspective on what it's like to play competitive laser tag. So welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Glad to have everybody here. And why don't we do a little round robin of introduction? Could everybody kind of just go around and introduce yourself with your name, your code name, and what is your primary laser tag system?
So I'm Shell or Rochelle, and my code name is Lenari. I am a native Storm player.
My name is Sammy. Code name is Azra, and I'm mainly a Force player.
I'm Cecily, codename Sakura, and I am a world-class Lasertron girl.
On that note, I'll go next. I'm Rochelle. My code name is Mama Bear. I am a reformed Tron player, and now I would call my home system to be Force.
Yay, go Force.
My name
starting
is
it already.
My name is Emily, and my code name is Shadow Dragon. My home system is Lasertron.
My name is Cassidy. My code name is Woes, and my home system is also Lasertron. Not world class, like Cecily.
You
and also
are
not
world-class.
reformed, but Lasertron.
Very good. And I'm just going to call myself the laser tag nomad because I travel to play any and all systems. So I don't typically claim a home system because I enjoy a little bit of everything. So I think it's cool that we have so many women in the scene, particularly for this year's Geddon. And we also have one more because Maddie, aka Nobody, will be in the tournament as well. So we've got some very good representation here. And I'd love to talk with all of you about how you got into laser tag in the first place, because that's a question that comes my way a lot. And I think that sometimes it's surprising when you know we show up and we're competitive and people don't know how in the world did this journey begin? So tell me, how did your journeys in laser tag start?
So I got started when I was a teenager. My new best friend, Amanda Mater, who is also native to Laserstorm Pittsburgh, just invited me to her parents' store one day, and I just about never left.
Mine is very personal for why I started. At the moment of time, I was right before getting my very first job. And I had very recently lost my cat, which meant the world to me. I was starting to get very depressed. And I knew that the only way for me to bring myself out of it was to be with my brother. And one of the nights he went to me and said, "Hey, you should come to Lasertron because we do this thing called Spec Ops, and you'd be really, really good at playing one tag, and you'd have a ball with it, so you should just come." And I was telling him no for so many weeks, and eventually I said, "You know what? Let me just go. I'll probably be happy once I'm there." And I was really terrible at it, but then I got addicted because I had to get better and be just as good as him. So I go because it makes me happy.
Ezra, how about you?
So when I was really little, my Oma's house, we lived near the home site I play at. And so I would go over there when I was little for a lot. And then there was this one time I started going more frequently when I was older. And one of the workers there, he plays the competitive Laser Force stuff, the Space Marines. And he was like, "Azra, you gotta go play. You gotta come do this." And he was telling me to do this for months on end until I finally was like, "Sure, I'll go play once." And now I've been doing it for 4 years, and I absolutely adore everyone in my community, like, so much.
Awesome. Woes, how did you get involved with laser tag?
So I started working at Lasertron Buffalo. I don't know, my friends and I went to play there, and I saw somebody that I knew that was working there and decided to apply, and then started going to the nights that Emily mentioned, and we had like tactical nights on Wednesdays. And yeah, that's kind of pretty simple. I just worked there and got into it, did that.
Cool.
So, gosh, I started playing, must have been 2018 with X-Man. We were very much going to Lasertron in Rochester several times a week actually at the time. Nobody, Maddie, who I've got a picture of her. We have a face.
Another competitor.
She was in 4th grade at the time. And I remember her sitting out a lot of the games because she wasn't very good because she was just starting. So she would be sitting along the wall with her pack on. And here we are, 8 years later, and she's rivaling me in the competitive scene. So that's how we got started. Was we tagged along with Axeman because he was going to go do tag.
Very good, and it just became a family affair.
It really did.
How about for you, Cecily?
So I've always said that there are two ways that people get into laser tag. You either work there or you're friends with someone who works there.
Seems like that's true.
Yeah, and I was the latter. So it was years ago. I had a couple of friends, and one day they said, "Hey, do you want to try playing laser tag with us?" And I was like, "Oh man, that sounds like a great idea for a hangout." I thought it was going to be like, we go there and there's a bunch of kids and a couple of adults running around with little plastic laser guns. So imagine my shock when I show up and it's a bunch of adults and the store is closed and we just get to free reign run around the arena. And I was beaten up pretty badly that night. And I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We've got to get into this. That was 17 years ago.
Oh my gosh. And you came back strong.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I might be the only one who didn't have somebody bringing me into it. Originally, I started because you all know I was a Photon fan and I was intrigued by that, but I didn't get serious about it until FoCon. And I thought to myself, I'm going to this event and there's going to be players who spent 30 years playing laser tag. I'd better get in an arena and at least look like I can hold my own. And that's where I learned there's a big difference between Photon and other laser tag. But that's where it started, and now here we are. And I think that it's cool because we're all coming at this from different perspectives and different viewpoints. And so I'd love to know if you all think that maybe laser tag is or isn't different. I'm not going to make assumptions, but is it different for girls and women to get into and to get good at? Or are there pros, cons, no difference at all? What's your take on that?
I think there's like some bias sometimes when you are starting to play, that like you get underestimated sometimes. But I found, at least with my part of the community right now, there hasn't been like a lot of like weird things happening, but I definitely think there's like a bit of bias sometimes when playing.
I think underestimation is the magic word there, because I see some heads nodding at this.
I
it sounds
agree
like
that
you have an opinion.
Yeah, I agree that there can be bias. I think too, just coming into the room for the first time and being the minority gender, right? I think all of us would have experienced that, right? I have yet to come into a room full of only women playing laser tag. There aren't enough of us, and I think that can be intimidating. Like when that was me, I again, I was there with my best friend and her parents owned the store. So like I didn't really feel that myself, but I can see how that would be intimidating to come in cold like that.
I know for me, when I first played, I think there was only one other girl at Spec Ops. It was all
Really?
guys that were all very good, and the only other girl, it might have been Brooke, but I don't remember exactly who it was. That or it was just me. And I was honestly, for me, it just made me even stronger because I wanted to prove I was just as good as the guys. I could hang with them, and I was going to be the best one. I was determined to be the best defender, and I went ahead and found the strongest person at defense. I'm like, Cage, you got to teach me how the hell to go positive because I can't do it. As for getting into it, I have ironically had a night when I've been there on a public night, and it has been all women. And it was the weirdest adventure because we are more ruthless than the guys. We are much more competitive and much more in it, and there's much more shouting. And it was honestly one of my favorite moments of playing. Most of the time, it seems like a lot of women come because their boyfriends are playing, So you just kind of get asked to come because it's like a date night. But that's all that I've experienced.
I feel like Cecily probably can jump right onto that train.
Yeah, well, laser tag, like as a sport, it's a huge boys club, and it's appealing. I feel like it was appealing to me because I'm a huge tomboy, so I'm like, oh well, I'm with the boys, I'm right at home where I belong. But also, like, I agree with the bias. There's no other competitive sports have like a men's division and a women's division. We don't have that, so we just get thrown in with the boys. Not only does that create bias, but it creates a lot of weirdness around like how certain people behave around certain players. It changes like what we might refer to as locker room talk. But it also like it engages us with the male players. We have to engage with them. It's just us. So it's like you either become really cool with a lot of stuff really fast, or you, like Emily said, you get mad and you turn that into strength and resilience.
Woes, you've got to stay fierce with what you do in the tag world. So thoughts on this?
I've got to stay fierce. Is that what you said?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
We
I
all
guess
have to stay fierce.
there could
And
there
be
could be
competitive.
like bias and stuff like that. But I remember when I first started going to like tactical night and like spec ops stuff when I started working at Lasertron and I was reffing, I was so afraid of Emily and Brooke. They were Shadow Dragon Emily. They were shouting and calling stuff out, and like they were the ones who like stuck out to me. I don't really feel like I have any negative experiences in the arena just because I'm a girl.
No, the question doesn't imply that it has to be one way or another. Just wondering what everybody's take is. And Mama Bear, thoughts?
There's a couple of moments for me that come to mind, piggybacking off of what Shadow Dragon was saying about being a little more fierce. I can certainly be very competitive. I can recall at least a couple of times in playing Force, one of the male players calling me out for doing something illegal. And I pushed back on it to say, nope, that's not what I was doing. And so we actually went back into the arena and recreated the scene. And one of the other head players was like, there's no way she was doing anything illegal based on where she was standing. It couldn't possibly have been the case. So I do feel like there have been times where I get called out for, quote, doing something wrong, but likely because I did something better.
Uh-huh.
Or I can still think of the first time we went down to Kinetics and we were playing tournament, and me and Nobody had a disagreement about how a couple things should have been played.
Oh yeah, I witnessed that.
Oh man.
It must have been something to see. I didn't get to see it myself, unfortunately, but apparently I scared a bunch of people, and people still talk about that to this day.
Yes.
You sure did.
Yes.
You sure did.
I think I was told by 5 different people to get your captain to be like, something needs to happen.
Fierce. What can we say? You know, we are also competitive, and I wholeheartedly agree that we are very often underestimated.
So I want to add to something that you just said, Mama Bear. The other thing about being a lady laser tag player is like the thing is, we sometimes, I think, get on ourselves too hard for having moments like this when like our frustration takes over and we yell and we get mad. But like the male players do that all the time. They do that all the time because that's just like what boys do. But we do it too. Laser tag gets us amped up the same way it gets the guys amped up, and we get mad.
Yeah, but it's scary when we do it because we're not supposed to.
It's not pretty, but it's the nature of this. Right. It's a little scary, but that is the nature of the sport.
I appreciate that, and I agree. You know, some people are famously hotheads, right? They're even celebrated for their hot-headedness in some cases, but I would not see that happening if any of us reacted a similar way. It would be more shock and awe.
Well, I think everybody's making some very good points about what the reality is when you've got to, you know, step up so that you're on even ground. And I really like the point about being underestimated, because I recently had an experience where I was off traveling and was playing in a game and ended up in a game with the teams were being allocated, and there was a 12-year-old boy who rolled his eyes when I got added to his team. So I knew he didn't see any of that coming. By the end, you earn the respect.
That's the best.
Oh. Well, it's cool to kind of get these takes, and I think you all are really kind of inherently answering a bit of my next question, which is I want to know what drives us. For me, I've always been a very competitive person, but I was never somebody who jumped into team sports. I never did that in high school or college or anything. I had that competitive drive, so I sought out solo competitions. I was actually a pageant girl for years, so I was able to compete in things where it was just me. And there's an element of self competition, but you also have to flex to be on a team. So, like for me, that competitive drive that I've always had in me just kind of found its way to laser tag. What about for everybody else? Shell, do you have uh, something that really kind of makes you go for this?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it is the people. This community is my family. Sammy, we met tonight. I hope it's okay. We're family. Like I've been here since I was 15. I'm over 20 years at this point. Goodness. And I every facet of my life is woven into laser tag. My partner, I would not know him if it weren't for laser tag. Wouldn't be in the state I live in, right? Like it all it's so woven, and I can't imagine my life without it or without any of you. So that's my reason to be here.
Mama Bear, what drives you? As Seth is having
Yeah, to piggyback off of what I was saying before, like I do not like being underestimated or told I can't do something. So you tell me that, and I will very much live up to the name Mama Bear. And for nobody, I can say, having it being a family affair for us over these years, Maddie starting when she was 9 years old or so, it's taught her that you can start from nothing. And, within just a few years of continually practicing, she can go out and say that she's a nationally ranked tournament player. Like there are gains to be had. And that I love that because then I can say, hey, you remember that time that you sat against the wall at Lasertron? Well, look where you are now. You need to apply the same thing over here. And so I love having that driving force within our family. I think it's wonderful.
nice.
Yeah, I'm very much along the same thing of if you tell me I can't, my response is watch me. For me, there's a few different drives. Of course, I will always say I am one of the most determined people you will ever meet. No matter what it is, I will find a way to do it, even if it's deemed impossible. The other thing for me is since women are so, again, underestimated, it'll be a common theme, and it was very apparent to me, more so than what I expected after the very first tournament that I was in outside of Armageddon. And from that moment on, I'm like, you know what? I want a team of all women to win a tournament just to prove that we can do it just as good. That is my drive. And at the end of the day, I mean, I know that Shell knows. I want to go to Armageddon with an all-female team, and I want a medal. I don't care if it's first, I don't care if it's second, or if it's third. I want to get a medal just to say an all-female team finally got a medal.
Love it. And congrats for being the first with your all-female squad in those Lasertron events
Thank
that were
you.
going on. That's very cool.
My answer would be the same as Shell's. Like Mama Bear and Cecily both, like I have blown up their phones this past week, just crashing out about literally like so, and I will
Hey,
be
I
doing
want to
it
be part of
again
the crash
and
out
again.
text.
Okay. I mean, I text you pretty often also, and I try to keep it a little bit more stable just because I've been just really having fun blowing up Cecily's phone with I don't know, the friends is really why I do it, but it is, like it's fun. I enjoy doing it, but it's mostly the people that make me come back to it.
Sammy?
Like I'm a very passionate and like competitive person in what I do, and just I I want to show them like, hey, I can do it just as well as you, maybe sometimes a little better, but because I've crashed out a couple times on with frustrations of people not willing to listen to me or like where I'm coming from. Because like with the game, I know what I'm doing, but sometimes they don't really think I do, and that like frustrates me to no end. But I want to show like, hey, I do know what I'm doing. You like I'm not like dumb. I know what I'm doing here. Like so.
Can I say something really quick as I'm thinking about it?
Of course.
Yeah.
To piggyback off of that, I remember this, going back to the last couple of questions that we were years ago at Tron, and I was with X-Man, and I'm watching this other person there having a pretty significant pack issue. So I went over to the ref and I said, hey, this person's having X problem with their pack. He goes, oh, okay, and walks away from me. I just go back to Axe. He's like, he's doing like, no, I don't know what he's doing. So Axe goes over, says verbatim the exact same thing to the ref that I did, and the ref immediately goes and takes care of the pack issue.
Oh, Seth, have you got some thoughts on what drives you?
I'm going to be the one person in this group that doesn't have a whole lot of sentimental beginnings. What drove me to keep playing laser tag in the first place was actually just because I love the game. Like, I love everything about it. I love the lights. I love the sounds. I love running up and down the ramps. I love shooting the base. I'm a gamer already. So laser tag was originally like something really geeky and fun that I could do that felt like a more active version of just playing a first person shooter game. And I'm a pretty active person. I have a couple of different really weird athletic hobbies. So I got to just add laser tag as one of them. Like, I like rollerblading and taekwondo and like Filipino martial arts as like my active hobbies, and laser tag is another one of those that I could add to be like, this is really weird, but I really, really love it. And I mean, I even down to like the one moment that used to get me really excited during games is where the old version of Tron chips, when the first chip was always random, and if the first one was the activator, I would wait like 4 seconds and then just hear so much screaming from both ends of the arena. And that, like, all the way down to like the panicking, the rush, all of that, I love. And originally I kept playing laser tag simply because I really just love the game. And I have made some pretty legitimate friendships along the way. One of my best friends in the whole world is a person that I met playing laser tag, and we've been friends for the entire 17 years. And he's about to marry another one of my best friends who's not a laser tag player, but he's become like so ingrained into my life. And it all comes back to that first time when I went out to play laser tag with a bunch of grown adults.
Very cool. Well, now, out of 7 teams that are going to be participating in this year's Armageddon, I think between all of us, if my math is right, the Armageddon girls play on 5 of the teams. So let's just go around and give a shout out. Tell me which team it is that you're playing on this year and how many times you've played Armageddon so far. Shell, you want to start again?
Oh, that's quick math. I don't know how many I've played.
A whole lot.
2011, 2013, and then I came back in either 18 or 19, and I think I've only missed 1 year since. So whatever that math adds up to. A few minis as well. So anyway, I've been around a while. I am playing on Turtle Annihilation. That is Alex Skillman, i.e. Skills' team. Very excited. Also on that team is my partner, Scott Havoc, who I forgot to name earlier. So there's my sneak in for that.
Turtle Annihilation. I love it. I'm asking this because I love the team names we come up with. And Mama Bear and I and Shadow Dragon are all on the same team. So ladies, share how many times for you and our team name?
I'm pretty sure our team name at this point is Shadow Syndicate, although don't quote me 100% on that.
That's what I was thinking. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the consensus amongst the group so far. And this has to be my 4th Armageddon, I think. I think that sounds right.
I believe this is either my 3rd or my 4th. I can't remember because I know I missed the one during COVID, and I know I didn't go to the one with Michigan. But I've been to the others, so now I don't remember.
Okay, and I think for me, this would be my 7th. So we're all the Shadow Syndicate girls. And okay, So, and I lose track of who's on which team, but I know Azra is on a team where you're the only female on your team, right?
Yeah. So my team has a bunch of like Force players. Two of the like the main ones who've done Armageddon before is RNT and Cody that are on my team. But I'm really excited. This is my first ever Armageddon, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. Y'all have been like telling that like you've been playing like multiple, and I'm so excited to join in the ranks there. Like, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Love it.
But we don't have a team name yet. That is still in the works. Maybe
Okay.
we'll have a team name eventually. Probably like the day before it starts. That's my guess.
Woes, are you returning to the team you were on last year?
Yes. So last year we were only fatness, kind of like a, a play on a website some people know. And it's I don't know if we're using the same team name again this year, but we're pretty much just running it back with the exception of 2 players went to Annihilated Turtle. Is that what the team name is, Shell?
Turtle Annihilation.
Turtle Annihilation. So with the exception of those 2, we have 2 different players this year, but yes, I'm the only girl on the team and I'm excited about it. I don't know what name we're using yet, but
Okay.
yeah.
And several of us were on the previous plausible team, but Cecily is the only OG player left in this group. So tell us about your experience. You've been around Armageddon for a while too.
You might be surprised to know that I've actually only played in like 5 or 6 Armageddons because most of my laser tag career was on Tron tournaments.
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess we just played all the same tournaments because I feel like you've been around for as long as I can remember.
So I found a spreadsheet. Bess, you are discrediting yourself. So in case anyone doesn't know, we do have one of our members in the Geddon group on Facebook maintains a spreadsheet of all of the Geddons we've gone to. Cess, this is going to be
awesome.
Your 7th Armageddon.
Wow.
Let's go. Plausible deniability will never forgive me for the year that I had to skip the tournament because I broke my ankle 6 weeks before.
Oh, I know. I never heard the end of it about it.
That's
true.
That's my first one. That was my first Geddon. This is gonna be my 5th, by the way. I realized I didn't answer that, but yes, I remember Cecily breaking her ankle.
Uh-huh.
Uh-oh. I think I'm
girl in
lost.
bubble
Oh,
wrap.
I'm back. Yeah,
But
exactly.
then we
they're
went
still complaining about
rollerblading
it.
the night before this past Armageddon. We went rollerblading anyway when you were here, even though that's how
Which
you
I couldn't believe.
broke.
I couldn't believe that Slayer allowed me to do.
For real.
But yeah, so this will be my 7th Armageddon, and I mean, I am on a team with a bunch of people that I'm pretty familiar with. Yeah, I always end up back on plausible, which is fine. This is a different iteration of it, but I'm gonna beg them not to name the team plausible deniability again. We need to change the name. It's like when like bands rebrand themselves. We have to change it. There was one year where we were like plausible indeniability or something. Like there was a slight change or some nonsense.
I loved, because it popped into my head, the name when we were looking for a name. We were
implausible deniability.
For that, I hated that name. So I remember thinking of plausible deniability and thinking I love this name. And then now being on a different team, I'm like, I miss that name.
Exactly. This is why we have to change the name this year. There are too many missing people.
Yes, we've all splintered in different directions. So this will be like the different year. So you come up with a different name, and then at some point the plausibles will reunite. Because I still consider myself, I prefer myself as a plausible. What a crazy name.
Plausible forever.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure we all got into this in different ways as well, because like, when you first hear about Armageddon, it sounds big and intimidating. And I know, like for me, I can't even recall how I heard about it in the first place, but I jumped into it and had no idea what was going on around me. And for anybody who doesn't know, Armageddon is a very unique multi-system, multi-state tournament that requires us to travel from site to site. And so that makes it very unique from other tournaments in and of itself. But how'd you end up on a team? How'd you even find Armageddon in the first place? Where did that begin? Shell?
Yeah, so I had an easy time finding it. A few of the Laser Storm Pittsburgh players actually went to their first Armageddon the same year I started going to Laser Storm. So as long as I've been playing tag, I've known about Armageddon. First couple of years, parents thought I was a little too young, wasn't ready to put their kid on a bus going around to different cities without them. So I didn't actually start until 2011. So I was basically just on the edge of my seat waiting for an opportunity. And I did confirm this will be my ninth.
Okay, so you're the veteran of this group right now.
Oh, Lord.
Well, let's circle around in the other direction. Sammy, how'd you get into Armageddon? This is your first year.
So I've heard one of the Force players talking about it since like I started playing, and like he's always been trying to get people to come play and come join it. And it finally like lined up that like I'm going to be in New York when it's happening. So I'm like, sign me up. I'm down to do this. More laser tag. I you're speaking my language here, Like I kind of like just hearing about it from other people and mostly just slowly getting like it lining up with things. But that was like the main reason I was able to like join and do it.
Very good. Well, now my first team with Armageddon was with guys like Cage and Slayer and Bill. So, Emily, you and I knew a lot of the same people, but you weren't
Yep.
on the team then. So, how did you get into it?
So for me, on the very first night when I went, and then ended up going to Cage to be like, I need you to teach me. He mentioned then weeks after that, because Spec Ops was every single week. Eventually, I would hear him talk about Armageddon. And at that point, I never thought that I was good enough. I'm one of those people where I'm harder on myself than anybody else could ever be. So I'm constantly always feeling, I don't know if I'm good enough. I feel like I have to prove that I'm good enough in order to be there. So eventually I ended up dating Slayer, and he was going to go, and he's like, I want to bring you with me because you'd really enjoy it because you can't get any better than you currently are now in Buffalo. There's not a big enough scene. There's not enough people. You've outgrown. You've gotten stronger than everybody else there. The only way to improve is to come here. And I remember after the very first day of playing, when we went back to the hotel, I'm like, well, if I can't show up for Lasertron and hold my own in Rochester, I don't think I belong here. After just the first time of playing Qzar and Storm, and I think we had part of Force in the first day, and I went negative in basically every single one of them except for one Force game. I was like, I don't know if I belong here. And then we played Lasertron, and I was able to hold my own, and then I finally felt like, okay, I do belong here. And honestly, that was the main reason why I came back. That, and of course, made friends with a whole bunch of people and realized after talking to Ricky that everybody there is not the same as the people I've been playing with.
Woes, I've been here since you joined the Armageddon group. So, like, how did you get rounded into being a plausible?
I am once a plausible, always a plausible.
That's right.
Slayer needed, or he was trying to make a team in 2022, and so he asked me and another player from my site, and we finished, or like we like were the, I guess, the two that like he needed to fill two spots, and so he was from my home site, Slayer, and that was kind of the connection. And then Cecily broke her ankle, so I didn't get to meet her that year, but that was my first get in. And I just came back because I thought I had a lot of fun every year, really. But that I had a lot more fun than I expected to. So
I remember that year, and I can't believe it was only 2022 because I seem to remember like you being referred to as like the kids just because you were younger than some of the rest of us who were the old fogies.
I mean, like last year, Slayer said when he was going to pick me and that player from my site that was on the team with us up, he said, I'm going to get the kids. And I am
which
27.
you're not, obviously.
That's fine. It's just funny. Like he's like, oh, I'm on my way to pick up the kids now, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I remember. So, Cecily, you missed out on all that, but you had experience prior to that point, right? So How'd you get into it?
So I can't even lie. I picked up Armageddon when Tron tournaments died.
Okay.
I was warned at my first Armageddon, like, hey, Tron is in this tournament, but this is not a Tron tournament. I know that I could be humbled in these systems at Armageddon. For some of these systems, it was my first time ever playing them. And my thought was, well, if Lasertron is cool, then it's going to be great. And then I had my mind completely blasted into a million things.
And Mama Bear, what about you? How'd you end up here?
So it started with our transition from Tron to Force as our home system. We were had maxed out, like Emily was kind of saying, in the public Tron scene in Rochester, where we wanted more competitive play, and Tron in Rochester was just not having it. Even with the Spec Ops, it wasn't where we wanted it to be. We wanted to do more and grow it, and they didn't really have a big interest. At the same time, they were telling us no for a competitive league. Laser Force in Syracuse was growing again for their competitive scene. So we hopped in over there, and somehow within that, we got into the Armageddon scene looking for that competitive play. And we've been driving from Rochester to Syracuse minimum once a month for the last 5+ years.
Excellent. So we all found it in different ways, and we've all had good enough experiences, but a lot of us have been here for multiple years. As I mentioned, since it's a multi-system, multi-state thing, we do travel, and that means there is a bus that takes people between the arenas and to the hotels, and so there's a bonding time and socialization. I will say I myself typically tend to drive myself separately. I've had the bus experience, but what do you all think of the experience? What do you like or not like about getting to have all that bonding time?
With all the respect, you got to take the bus. You got to take the bus. Now, Tivia, you host a whole secondary tournament by driving. So please don't listen to me as I say this, because you bring so much to the tournament by doing that. I know people love that. But in general, I don't know. I feel like especially for your first time, the bus is part of the experience. It is unlike any other. And if you've tried it and you hate it, that's okay. But you got to try it once.
For the record, I have done the bus twice.
Right, exactly. Yes. That's, yeah. So again,
she wants you to come back to the bus. That's the problem.
But also, we would welcome you back with open arms. But I meant the general you.
Rose, what do you think of the bus?
I love the bus. I'm never driving. It is so much fun. That's, like I said, like ultimately, like this is kind of a social thing for me, as much as I do like love it and I am competitive when I'm here, but like I love the bus. And even when the bus has been should have been condemned, I still feel like there have been times when the bus is definitely a public health hazard, but I have so much fun. So that's my take on it.
Having AC unit water drip on you for 4 hours straight just bonds you, you know?
Yeah, like I'm trying to drink alcohol out of a styrofoam cup with some, I don't know, poisonous concoction Mama Bear made me. There's like condensation dripping on me, and the bathroom smells, and all I can think is like, this is like a 5-star resort. Honestly, to me, like vibes were immaculate. So yeah.
Y'all are talking this bus up. I'm like so excited to see this now.
You don't know what's coming. Like it's either going to be like a school bus that definitely should have been retired a long time ago and like might get a flat tire, like just explode, or it's going to be really nice. And you just never know until you get on the bus what kind of bus you're going to get. But the bus drivers, you know, like they're really fun too sometimes, not always, but most of the time they're fun. And it's like the time when, you know, like you get to really know everybody. Usually somebody has some type of beverage on the bus, and it's just it's a fun time when the rides are longer and stuff like that.
My favorite experience on the bus and most memorable actually comes from the very first Armageddon I was on, where in the beginning of it, I was just always sitting up front because, as most people will know, Slayer, the way that he taught me with Armageddon was just like, a lot of people go out and party and have fun. Me, I'm smarter was his sense, basically, than that. I sleep whenever I can so I conserve energy. That was his thing in the beginning. So I was usually up in front because he was in front and he was trying to sleep. Everybody in the back was noisier and louder. So, well, after we ended up playing Quest and I got my ass handed to me by multiple people, I went ahead and we were in the back because everybody filled in differently. And while he was asleep, I was talking to Fatness, and out of nowhere, they ended up blasting Careless Whisper on the bus. And I see a whole bunch of people hold up their cell phones and just start using the lighter app and just waving them back and forth. And to this day, Careless Whisper is on my Lasertron set list because of that moment. And every time I hear that song, I picture every single person from Armageddon on the bus, and I'm like, this is the anthem for Armageddon. So every time I hear it, I'm thinking of every single one of you. My other favorite time comes from the same adventure where on the last day when we were driving back to the hotel, somebody iced R&T and he had to down the drink on the bus. And just as the bus hit a huge bump, I thought for sure he was going to spit out the entire drink. Because his eyes just started bulging immediately when that happened. And I'm like, some of that definitely went up your nose.
Cecily, I know you've got bus stories.
I am a career back of the bus rider. The bus is a fun place because as was mentioned before, like it's a place where people get to know other players, you get to know them socially, you get to connect with them in ways that you don't care to do on the field, or you just talk more about what's going on the field. In addition to it being convenient, because some of the drives between sites can be quite long, and if you don't enjoy driving too much or you want to save gas, you might want to take the bus. There are times when the bus is a little inconvenient, but for the most part, it's convenient, it's easy. We can party on the bus. I do party on the bus. I'm an animal, Emily. I'm not sleeping until my body forces me to go to sleep.
Oh, I know.
which did happen this past tournament. After playing Storm all day and then grilling like 80 burgers, I got on that bus, put my sunglasses on, and passed out. And everybody took pictures of me because of course they did. Because of course they did. But I like connecting with people. Mama Bear has made the bus ride especially fun. So yeah, and also I love that Slayer used to sit in the front of the bus. I'm not sitting in the front of that bus, and he's gonna sit next to me. So now he has to sit in the back, whether he likes it or not.
So Mama Bear, your name has come up a couple of times.
I'm not sure why.
No, that's
I don't even ride the
true.
bus, and I know why.
I can't imagine we do anything out of line last bus ride.
There are bus staples, and you are one of them. It's very true.
Yeah, I very much enjoy the bus. I don't think I would ever drive. As competitive as we are in the arena, I think we really can crank it up on the bus too on the social time. Like half the reason to go is to visit with everybody because the people in the tag community are just absolutely phenomenal. They're some of the best people I've ever come across in my life. Shell and Havoc, I don't think I'd ever have met them, and I'm so grateful that I can call them friends today. They're just fabulous people. Cecily, it would not be the bus without Cecily.
No, not a chance.
But
there is a photo of me stepping onto the bus with an entire pitcher of beer.
Yes, there is.
Alley.
I have that picture. I took it.
Yeah. And a bowling pin.
Dallas was like, well, how do I... How, we're leaving now? I just ordered this. I was like, no problem. Let me handle it.
But there's a bunch of us that, we bring beverages and we bring lots. There's at least 3 coolers of stuff in the back of the bus every year, if not 4. And there's at least 1, if not 2 up front. And we all share with each other and everybody brings something. Last year, one of the guys, Mark, brought up this beer from Texas. I've already reached out to him to say, hey, can you bring more? Because that was really good. Unfortunately, that's not happening. But I can say, Woes knows, because I told her I have a new concoction this year to bring that I'm really excited to bring. It's going to be really good and fun. And I'm sure that we will still all be subjected to the actually more hazard and toxic Cope Special Blue.
Oh, good Lord.
Sass, you're in charge of bringing the spare pitcher this year.
You know, the bus, the other thing about the bus is it's a great opportunity for me to remind everyone to drink water too sometimes.
And eat breakfast.
And eat breakfast.
That's right. Cecily is our nutritionist on the tournament. And,
you know, the bus is my nutrition soapbox.
There you go.
And if we're shouting out providers, can I also recognize for a moment Jabber Bill Cooey,
yes.
who always brings the beer trade, and welcomes all to the cooler, and all of you who do things like that are so kind.
I was disappointed last year. We brought home unopened bottles. I'm just saying.
That's depressing.
We'll work harder this year.
Is that a challenge?
Yes.
Maybe.
So the bus is definitely a staple of Armageddon, and I have had the bus experience. I choose to drive for two reasons. I like my autonomy, but also, as Shell mentioned, it's not a whole separate tournament exactly. It just sort of evolved that a few years ago when we had a window of time and I had wheels, I was like, I'm not going to take a bus between point A to point B when there are 3 laser tags I can hit en route to the hotel. And that was the beginnings of Tivageddon. So for those of us who do drive, we take a couple of people if you want to explore a little on the side. If you haven't had enough laser tag from 4 days of Armageddon, well, you can come along and play Tivageddon too. And that's how that started. But it's just kind of one of those things that I do sort of miss the fact that it is clearly a point of socialization, but I also like to explore. And as one of the Armageddon players said, we always think those people who drive are weird until one of us needs to go somewhere.
I can say
that's why I mentioned the inconvenience. I'm like, hey, I would like to get X item. Oh, we have a bus, and no one will let me drive their car at this point, and they probably shouldn't.
Yes. So Tivia on call when the case is warranted. So, all right. Yeah, the bus definitely a big part of it. And one of those places where, this is where we all bond together. I think that, it doesn't matter what walk of life, gender differences just kind of go out the window when you're having a party like that. But back in the arena, sometimes it comes up, and we've talked about the feeling underestimated. Are there times that you feel either over or underestimated? And, do you have an example of something that sticks in your mind? Like for me, it's always every time I play against like high school athletes, if they walk into an arena and I'm there and I'm looking like their mom, they do not see it coming. And so I love to be underestimated by younger players, who are looking me up and down saying, she's no challenge.
I think my favorite one was with during COVID, Lasertron had to develop a different game mode in order to not be shut down, at least in Buffalo, where they developed their Battle Royale version, where it's basically Fortnite, but in the arena. The entire purpose was stay away from everybody, and you're in teams of 1 to 4 with your friends. Well, since I would go all the time and I didn't always have friends, I was usually a solo. Every time we'd go into the arena, everybody would split up with their groups and grab their packs on. 99% of the time, somebody in the arena would look at the scoreboard and see where all the names were and be like, I feel bad for that person that's by themselves. Aren't they at a huge disadvantage? Give them teammates. And of course, it's me. And I usually look at the ref. The ref looks at me and I say nothing. And he says to them, they'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And they're like, yeah, but it's totally unfair. And usually the refs, depending on who they were and how long they've been there, a few of them would say, we don't know who it's unfair to. So that they wouldn't really think anything. And then, of course, when I would win the first round, they'd be like, where was this person? How did they do this? They must be cheating. And then they would find me and they're like, oh, you're just hiding. I'm like, what? You want me to walk out when it's just me and take on 4 people at once? I'm not that stupid. I'm going to sit and hide. I'm in a corner. If your entire team finds me, I'm not getting away. You got to find me first, though. I'm going to make you work for it.
Right. Like that response can be, yeah, I'm playing the game better than you are.
Yeah.
Get good.
Like, I don't know what you want from me. Then I'll have 2 different teams take me out at once. And my favorite thing that I'll say to myself, and I got to say it quiet, otherwise I'll upset people a little bit, is I'll be like, yeah, this is what I ought to expect. 1 versus 8, I like those odds. I can make those odds work.
Yeah, the underestimating comes in a lot. And I don't know if overestimating is the right word, but I always thought Cecily had played so much more laser tag than I had. So you kind of blow my mind when you say that you haven't done as many tournaments as I thought in the Armageddon world. But obviously you've had, experiences with Tron and whatnot. So like any stories along those lines?
Oh, I get underestimated all the time in every environment, always. And it's it's actually okay. It used to being underestimated in public play or in tournament play used to really upset me and frustrate me, but I have come around to understanding why it's actually a benefit. It's like, nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. And, I'm okay with not having lots of glory and lots of attention and lots of eyes on me during the game because, again, I'm just there to play. I'm not actually there to prove anything to anyone. And I think that when I started thinking about it that way, it made the game more enjoyable for me. So people do underestimate me all the time. Players from all walks of life, all states, all systems do, except for maybe most of the players on this call. And I appreciate like any good face of my skills, but it's not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember there was one year when there was a team that was down a player during Tron, and I kept trying to join the team to play extra games with Tron. And at some point, I tried to join the team that was playing against Cope, and Cope looked at me and was like, absolutely not. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, that's not a fair trade. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you are what I consider one of the best Tron players here. There's no way you can sub in for a non-Tron player to play against my team. And I was like, oh, that was nice. Someone noticed me. But otherwise, I'm just a little dude playing laser tag.
Yeah, so that's where overestimating may not be the right word. It's more like respect because we acknowledge and we see what you can do. So maybe that's the better way to approach that. But yeah.
Don't overestimate me because then I have expectations to live up to.
Shell, thoughts?
Yeah, so I'm gonna respond with something a little off from the question, I think. I want to comment on my own perception of me. So I have spent the majority of the years I've been playing laser tag underestimating myself. Coming from mainly my own anxieties, not because others have been putting me down. And in hindsight, after the last couple of years, where I feel that I've excelled at least a hair in every system and a lot in my own, that is Storm, that was the thing that was holding me back. I was just telling myself, you're a girl, you can't, or, you're not the most athletic person, you don't do sports generally, you can't, you're not going to be at that same level as these top tier players. Not that I'm calling myself a top tier player by any means, but once I got over that insecurity, it just opened up the world for me to, enhance my skills at a lot faster rate. So that was a big learning lesson for me in the game.
Definitely. And good point, because, that self-talk can be just as real as whatever somebody might actually say or what you might think that they might want to say, but they don't. But
yep,
yeah, good
absolutely.
Point. Mama Bear?
Sure. I think there's three things that come to mind for me. This last Armageddon, this past year, we were playing in Detroit. We were playing Force, and I was a scout. And one of the games I pushed so hard, I actually top scored the entire team, even above the heavy and the commander. That was a pretty, I had no idea that the team was struggling that hard and that I would have been pushing actually that hard. My first Armageddon, I did way better in Storm than I could have even imagined. I had never played it before, and unfortunately for me, I've never played it so good since. But it was a lot of fun that first year that I tried it.
Cool.
And then my very first Armageddon playing in Kinetics for Force, we were going up against Cody's team on Plausible. And I thought, we had Fenrir, we had me, we had Axe, we had nobody, and I wasn't quite sure of the lineup. And here Cody's, a top force player, and were we going to beat him? We didn't think we were. And had there not have been the other little mishap, we were this close to beating Cody's team. And I thought we had gone in so underestimated on that game. And it still kind of kills me. I could still feel that wants to come up and fight, that we didn't get it. But we were really close. Had our team have pulled it together, and nobody and I had been on the same page with another player, we would have topped that game.
Very good. And Sammy, you ever feel that?
I definitely feel like the underestimated sometimes. In ways. So at Loveland, we also do like laser ball nights, which is another game mode, Laser Force game mode. And when it comes to like drafting teams, sometimes me and one other like girl player, we're picked last, even if we're like really good at what we're doing. They tend to pick like all the dudes first and then us. But I find like sometimes we're underestimated, but like that kind of drives me more because then I'm like, well, that just sucks for you now, Like you did this to yourself now, my guy. Like so
I have had that very thing happen in public nights where every now and again they'll assign a couple of random people as captains and they draw, and I will be the last person sitting there. And I was like, okay, so you're making judgments completely on aesthetic and nothing else. So I get it. But yeah, it's kind of weird to be in that situation when you know that you have an experience base to bring to it and people respond. But you know what? We're all holding our own. We're all doing our thing. I kind of wonder though if there is any experience that any of you have had that you're certain would never happen to the guys.
I got something.
Yeah.
So when I play Space Marines, I am a very assertive player. Needs I know what I need to have done, and like I know who needs to do it, why they need to do it, and like when they need to do it. And there are times a lot of players do not like how loud I get or how assertive I get. And it's like they get kind of offended by it sometimes. And it's like I know they wouldn't feel that way if it was like a dude doing the exact same thing, But they kind of feel like, oh, this person's like younger than me, like that. Why are they telling me what to do and stuff? But I've noticed that before a lot, but
there could be a little bit of an age bias too. You could be too
like an
young
age bias,
too
yeah.
old to do it, or that's how it's perceived. Mama Bear, have you had any experiences like that or anything that wouldn't happen to the guys? Does this happen to you?
The biggest ones that come to mind are every time we're on a public night where we have the right number of people, the right mix of crowd, and we want to try something outside of, color rank, indie, and color conquest. Right. So Axe and I are some of the biggest marketers, I think, for Syracuse Arena and getting people to join, get memberships and join the scene a little bit more there. Usually one of us, and you included, will go up and explain a game to get the public players to try something a little different. Here's twist this around. There's more than just going in and who came out first and who came out last. There's actual strategies in different formats. And I've gone up there to try to speak to the crowd, and sometimes they listen. Sometimes it's hard to rein them in. And I've sat there and watched you explain Photon 100 times, and I've seen the struggles for you as well on that. I never, ever, ever have seen that happen to Axe.
You're right. And yeah, so I guess they pick up on demeanor or a softer tone or whatnot. But yeah, I understand because we've both been in that position.
Right.
Rochelle, thoughts?
Mine might be weird, but here we go. I wonder if those of us in this room have to think a little harder about hotel room assignments than the guys do.
Yes,
Yes.
I have stopped doing
Right?
joint hotel rooms, and I like to make my own way and things and get a solo.
Yep. And for me, I started playing the game when I was 15, again with Amanda. Usually, Amanda and I would be in a bed, and then her brother would be in our room and one of our very close family friends. So it was very comfortable, like, in those years where I was a minor. And by the time I was an adult, like, I had known a lot of these guys for so long that I felt comfortable, right? It's just something I'm used to. But somebody coming in at an older age might feel a little different about that, right? And I'd like to compliment our the guys at the helm of our tournament, Will and Greg, who thought of that for you, Sammy, and we reached out to you to make sure that the assignments that we had for you were comfortable.
Yeah.
And I really like that they thought of that. But I wonder if the majority doesn't think so hard about it as we might have to.
And you're very accurate and dead on with that. I remember my first Armageddon. I did not know what questions to ask or what things I had choices on. And so, sometimes you learn things through experience. But yeah, that is a very good point.
Thanks.
Emily?
So for me, though, I have the same thing that Mama Bear said, which is it's a lot harder as a woman to either explain something to anybody else and have them listen. The amount of times I would try to get people to either do a certain thing or explain why we're losing or explain how to use a mode, and they would ignore it and walk away. And I would look at Cage, who's standing right there, and I'd be like, why do they not? And he's like, I got him next round. I would watch him do the exact same damn thing, and then they would listen to him. And I was like, what are you doing that I'm not doing? I'm like, is it because you're a guy? Is it not? And honestly, what he's told me, and it's helped me since then, he's like, it's not that you don't know what you're talking about. You are phrasing it in a way where you're trying to tell them what to do when you should be trying to lead them to the answer so that they get there. You need to have, because again, Cage is a teacher, so he's very good at talking to people. He's got that social skill. He taught me how to have that social skill. I have not had an issue since. Instead of me, when somebody asks, their friend, what should we do? They're not looking for some random person to give the answer. Until they ask, I don't know what to do. What are they doing that we're not? That's when I step in. As soon as they are finally acknowledging that they're looking for help, I don't have that problem anymore.
I have two experiences that come to my mind. That one that I was just reminded of, actually, playing in a small, very small charity tournament that was out of town and out of state, actually. So as the out of stater, they just put me with whomever, and I ended up on a squad of. There were two of us who were, grown women, and then there were two younger girls, and we were clearly what you would call the less experienced team based on looks alone. We went up against the local CrossFit team, who came in looking very formidable. And the other young woman, she actually had worked there, and so she knew what she was doing. And I came in knowing what I was doing, and so I felt like the coach of this team. And would you believe that our ragtag team with these couple of little girls who just followed directions, and the other two of us be in support? We didn't win the whole tournament, but we did take out that first round, that CrossFit team. And I've always thought that was a real moment. I felt like I had something to impart to the next generation at that point. And the other memory that I have that I think would never happen to one of the guys was at Armageddon. And I forget who, I think it might have been George. He's on the other team, and he identifies me in a force game as playing as a 3-hit. And he just assumes that I'm not playing commander. I was playing commander at that moment, but he shouts out to his team, Tivia is heavy, Tivia is heavy. And what I had to say to him is, no matter what the position, you never shout out that a woman is heavy.
I remember that moment. That was great.
That's good.
That's great. And on that note, why don't we wrap things up by just talking about what are you each most looking forward to at Armageddon this year? Sammy, it's your first one. Have we scared you?
No. In all honesty, y'all have enticed me more into doing it. I'm gonna be honest. I
Yay.
think I might be doing more after this. Like, as long as it lines up with my school schedule, of course. But I am really looking forward to like trying all these different systems and like meeting even more people who are also really into laser tag. So I'm just looking forward to the entire experience. The bus too, as you guys described it now too. Like we're just looking forward to all of it.
Cool. Mama
You can
Bear
sit next to
returning to the
me.
scene.
Um, gosh, there's so many wonderful parts of Armageddon. Um, I can't wait to, play hard in Force again. I can't wait to, yes, I will play hard in Tron.
You better.
Well,
You're in your home arena.
it is technically my home arena, but not in my heart, unfortunately. That is going to be very much Syracuse. But getting to play Storm again, I very much enjoy playing Storm, even though I'm not as good at it as I was in my first round ever. The bus, I was one of the people at the back of the bus with Cecily the time that we had a very serious biohazard going on in the back of the bus, but there's always a good time to be had on the bus. You just can't go wrong, in my opinion. And the people, as much as we are competitive and push each other in the arena, we really pull each other together on the bus. And I can't wait to spend every possible moment awake passing beverages with all of everybody on the bus.
Awesome. Shell, what are you looking forward to?
I heard it said earlier, all of it is my real answer. Just again, seeing the family, seeing all of you. It's always just the refresher I need every year to feel good about things. And just a couple of call outs in case they're listening. Terrence, we need to hear you preach again. That needs to be a staple every year. Anyone who hasn't seen that is
Yep.
not good off for it, so let's make that happen. I'm also extremely excited to be playing again with Jabber. He and I have known each other a long time, but we've never played together at this tournament, so that's going to be really cool. And I'm excited to see our Austrian players again. Really happy they're coming back. Get to play with Master Lindy for a second time. And hopefully I've learned a few more German words since I saw them last. But I think it's going to be a really great year. We have a lot of great teams, a lot of new people to meet. It's going to be cool.
Agreed. Emily?
Yeah, everything. Again, it's all of it. The experience, being with everyone. Of course, I'm looking very forward to again playing Tron in Rochester. Wish it was Buffalo, but it's good enough. I've grown accustomed to Syracuse to the point now where I think I've learned the map so that I don't walk into a barrier, maybe. So that's nice. But it's just seeing everybody again, rekindling the friendships, making new friends, and of course, giving Scott more dad jokes to make him frustrated on the bus. That's always a fun time. And of course, Shell will help me do that because then we'll just pass them back and forth the entire time. I need to get my Facebook algorithm to give me nothing but dad jokes again in preparation.
I will also start preparing.
I did find on Amazon there is a dad joke button that I might order that gives you 75 plus dad jokes, and I might just give it to him as a random gift out of nowhere. And then we can just use it on the bus. But yeah, it's just seeing everyone. One of the things that I really want to look forward to in another Armageddon is doing a draft again. The best thing that came out of the draft was playing with a whole bunch of people that, yeah, you talk to them, but being with them in the arena on the same team is very different than talking outside. Like what's already been said, the very unique thing with Armageddon versus the other tournaments, at least that I've been a part of, mainly in Buffalo and Rochester, is I tried to bring the Armageddon vibe to them. They didn't understand that, yes, you play very hard in the arena, but outside of the arena, all of it's gone and done. You can talk to each other, you can be happy for each other. They weren't getting that. That's the difference with Armageddon. It's a family. You fight really hard. You might get really angry at each other in the arena, but the second the vest comes off, you're joking and laughing and having a drink together.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think of when I think of Armageddon.
Excellent. And I agree with you. The draft really does open up possibilities that I liked the draft very much. I liked playing with some different people that I wouldn't have. I love the plausible team. I love the familiarity with that. So for me, it was a tough choice to decide whether to go plausible versus, accept Axeman's invite, because I thought it'd be cool for Tivia and Bodhi Lee to play on a team together.
Yep.
The selling
But
points were
ultimately,
good.
Shadow Syndicate, because I wanted to, spread wings a little bit and play with some players who I hadn't, and I'm very much looking forward to that piece of the experience. And every year being a little bit different, and yet seeing the family and getting to do what we love. And so I am so excited to be playing Armageddon with all of you ladies. The Armageddon girls this year going to go strong. I know we had Cecily and Woes had to leave us midstream, and Maddie will be seeing down there at the tournament. So we are the representation for the women of Armageddon. And I thank you all for joining me and shining some light on your perspectives on all that. So thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was fun.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Laser Unfocused Tag Talk. Listen for more episodes on the first and third Friday of each month. Want to be a guest on an upcoming episode? Find out more and follow my blog and website at TiviaChickLovesLaserTag.com.